You're fulfilling your destiny.
Become my apprentice.
Learn to use Adobe Premiere.
I will do whatever you ask.
Good.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is JacQ, and today we're going to be covering the basics of Adobe Premiere. Now, by the end of this video, you should know how to start your own project, you're going to learn some basic tools of Adobe, and also you're going to learn some nice effects to spice up your first video. Now, although Adobe Premiere looks very intimidating, it's not that bad of a software to use. After I show you these basic steps, you're going to have an idea of what you can do, and then after that, you build onto your own knowledge and make your own videos the way you want to make them. Now, when you first open Adobe Premiere, you're going to be greeted with this window. Down at the bottom is all my recent projects, but begin a new project, all you have to do is come over to here to the left, hit new project, and it's going to give you this window. In my case, it's going to be Premiere Pro Basics. Now, something I do suggest doing is having a folder for every single one of your videos that helps keep things more organized and basically helps streamline your own process. In my case, I already have a folder pre-made with some video footage that we're going to use while we're editing. Now, most of these settings don't matter too much, but personally for my renderer, I use the GPU acceleration. If you have a powerful enough PC, it'll help Premiere run a lot smoother. Under video, I usually use timecode, and for capture format, I use HDV. And to begin, all you do is hit OK. Now, when you start Adobe Premiere, you're going to start somewhere in the Learning tab. So, in my opinion, I think you should go ahead and select the Effects tab. This is one that I personally use for a majority of the time that I'm in Adobe Premiere. It's got a lot of the resources in a small area and makes it a lot easier for my own workflow. So to begin, go ahead and open up your folder where you have all of your raw footage. Now, what I like to do is basically just drag and drop out of the folder into the project files. What this will do is go ahead and import all the files. And then after that, all you have to do is drag it over to your timeline. And what your timeline is basically where you have all of your footage and where you're making your actual edits. So your timeline is made up of video tracks and audio tracks. Now, for your video tracks are down here at the top, we have V1, 2, and 3. Most of these options I don't typically use a lot, but something I do like to use occasionally are these toggles. Now, basically what this will do is whatever is on this video track, if the toggle is selected, it'll basically just turn it off. So anything that's in this track is just going to not show up in our preview window. And basically you have the same effect down for your audio tracks. You have M, which will mute that one track that it's in, or you can hit the S, which will end up soloing out your own track. So basically, if you have multiple audio tracks, whatever track you have soloed, that's the only one you're going to hear. So next I'm going to explain your playhead, which can be found on your timeline. It's this blue line here, and basically wherever your playhead is the frame that'll show up in your preview window. And this is very helpful for whenever you want to watch your effects and see what's actually going on while you're editing. So to move your playhead, all you have to do is left click on it and then just drag it around to wherever you want. Now, also, if you want to watch part of your clip that's on your timeline, basically all you have to do, drag your playhead to wherever you want to watch and then hit your spacebar, which will automatically start playing your clip. And that's pretty much all of your basics for your timeline. Now we're going to move on to the very basic tools in Premiere and their keybinds. Now there are a lot of tools in Premiere, but I'm only going to be covering the basic ones that I think you need to know when you first start editing. So on default, you start off with your selection tool or keybind V. So basically what this allows you to do is grab whatever track, audio, whatever you want to have, and just move it around to however you want to have it in your timeline. Next, we have the track select forward tool or keybind A, and that sounds like a long name, but basically what this tool does is wherever you click with your mouse and everywhere to the right of it, it'll select it, and then you can move it around however you wish. So let's say I only want to grab this clip on the right, all I have to do is right click and it'll move it, but let's say I want to move both, so I grab the one on the left and it'll select both of them, and I can move both of them at the same time. Next, we have the razor tool with the keybind C. Now basically what this allows you to do is just cut up your film. So wherever you want to make a cut, all you have to do is hit C, go to your place where you want to cut it, and just left click, and then you cut your clip. Next, we have our hand tool with the keybind H, and basically what this allows us to do is to move throughout the timeline. Now you can do this with the scroll bar also on your mouse, but it's however really you want to use it. Our last basic tool on Premiere is the type tool with the keybind T. Now basically what this allows you to do is once you have it selected, you can click anywhere on your preview window and it'll add text. So we can have it say anything we want, like say, hi there. And also you can notice that it made a little element down here in the timeline. Now, after you've made your text, let's say you want to make it a little bit longer. So all you have to do is hit your V key, right? We're going to get to our selection tool. Then we can grab the end of it and just drag it out however you want. And there you go, that's all of your basic tools for Premiere Pro. Next, we're going to move on to the effects controls, which is personally where I spend about 80% of the time editing videos. So your effects controls can be located at different places, but since we're in our effects tabs, it should be located at your top left. Now all you need to do is, let's say, left click on the video clip that you're wanting to edit. And over here, we have all of these options. Now, there are a lot, but the only ones you're really gonna be messing with most of the time are gonna be position, scale, rotation, and opacity. Now, I'm gonna show you what a couple of these things do. So let's say under motion that I wanna move my video clip to where it plays in just a little bit of a different area. Now, to move your position, it's broken down in your X and your Y value. So let's say you wanna edit it, you have the option of either clicking and then typing in a value, or something else that I personally like to do is just left click on it and then move your mouse back and forth, and then you can start to move it. Now, this is eyeballing, but if you need something more precise, just type in a number. It also works the same with our Y value, so we can just move it up and down however we need to. And that's all there is with position. Now we can move on to scale, in which all these values can be edited the same way, but essentially what scale is, it'll adjust the size of your clip. So right now we're at 100, which means like basically 100% of the size of the clip. Let's say we want to move it down, right? We can move it down to 81%, and basically all we did was shrink it. Or you can make it grow, and let's say we want to move it up to 148%. Now you're zoomed in. And with rotation, I'm sure you guys can figure out what we're doing here. We're just turning it. Lastly, in effects controls, we have opacity. Now, basically, this is how much of your video is actually showing up on screen. So let's say you want to have a fade or something like that. We can go ahead and actually just grab these clips, drag them up a little bit, grab one of these clips, and then drag it under, right? So now we have our clip on top, but we also have this clip on the bottom. Now, if you want to have the clip on the bottom show up, all you have to do is change the opacity of your top clip. Now we can do the same thing, just move it down. And as you can see, we have our bottom clip, but if we turn our opacity back up, we see the top clip. This is what you use for most of your basic fade effects. Now, that was a simple explanation of what all of these things do in effects controls, but you're able to animate them. And I'm not gonna show you how to animate all of them, because once you know how to do one, you can do all of them. Essentially, all you have to do is go to the position you want to start at, hit the stopwatch on the left, then it'll make a keyframe. Now, let's say you want to have your text move from this position to another position. All you have to do is drag your playhead a little bit forward, move your X or Y value however you wish, and it makes a second keyframe. Now, as you watch, all it does is make your clip move over. And that's how you animate all of your effects in Premiere, is with keyframes. So now we've covered effects controls, but we still have a lot of effects in Premiere that we haven't touched at all. So to find all those effects, all you have to do is come here to the top right of your screen, and this is basically everything divided into a lot of different folders. And as I said earlier, this can look very intimidating, but for the most part, I don't even think I use like 90% of these. And personally, what I recommend is if you have a day where you just want to learn how to edit, go in Premiere with some basic footage, drop a couple of effects onto a clip, and just see what they do. Because once you realize all the tools that you have at your disposal, you can come up with these new ideas and crazy ways to do things that you would have no clue how to do it before. Now, to use these effects, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is, let's say, we'll go to video effects, we'll go to adjust, and we'll go to lighting effects. All you have to do is left click on it, drag it down to your timeline, and drop it on top of whatever clip you want to do. And as you see, we added an effect. Now, to adjust that effect, we come back to where we just learned in the effects controls. And as you see here, we have a scroll bar on the right. All you have to do is scroll down, and there it is, lighting effects, at which you can go through and adjust all these different values. Now, let's say there's a certain effect that you know exists and you want to look it up. There you have a search bar. So one of the effects that I use literally in every single one of my videos is transform. So all you have to do is come up here, type in transform, and under distort, transform, all you have to do, as we said, drag and drop on top of your clip, and there you go. Now, one more thing I'm going to be covering in these effects is some very basic transitions. I don't typically use these, but I feel like it's better to have some basic transition than nothing at all. So to find these transitions, we look in the top right again, we see video transitions, we can come down and there is a whole wide range that you can use. Let's choose page peel just to test one out. So all you have to do is drag it on top of one of your clips. Now it is very small here, so let's go ahead and zoom in. And to zoom in, all you have to do is hold your Alt key and scroll in with your scroll wheel, and then left click on your transition. Now basically what this is a larger version of down here in your playhead. This is the transition, so let's say you want to make it longer on the right side, you just left click and drag it out a bit. You want to make it longer on the other left side, sorry, just drag it out a little bit more, and let's see, we can see our page effect coming in. And there you go, we have an extremely basic transition. And as I said earlier, just go into these one day when you have some free time, play around with them, see what you like, see what you don't like, and just feel your way around with the software. And basically that's everything you need to know about Premiere at the very beginning. Like I said, there's a lot of options in Premiere, but don't let them intimidate you. As long as you know the basics and you slowly work your way out, you can learn just about anything. Now, once you're done editing your video, you're gonna need to export it. So now we're gonna go over how to do that. Basically, what I like to do is use the I and the O keys, and what this will do is put an in and an out. Basically, you can set it to where Premiere will only render what's inside those brackets. Now, at this point, you have two options. You can come up here to the top left and click File, and then go down to Export, and then click Media, or you can use the keybind Control M, which will also pop up the same menu. Now for my render settings, I use H.264. I use the match source high bitrate, and here you can change the file output name. So let's say we can make it whatever we want. We can do Premiere Pro Basics. Doesn't really matter. Hit save. And you can also choose where your file is saved. And essentially what I do down here for video is I just match the source every time, because all the clips that I put in are the size that I want them to be when it comes out. Now, as we move down towards the bottom, you're going to need to check this setting so that you actually use your ins and your outs. And it's basically down here at the bottom where it says source range, and mine says sequence into out, but usually if at the very beginning, yours will say entire sequence. So just select sequence in and out and then hit export. And there you go. You're starting to export your first video and you're done. All right, so that's it. That's the basics of Adobe Premiere. Now you should be able to go off and start making your own videos. So I hope you found this helpful. If so, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. Let me know down in the comments below if there's an effect you want me to cover in another video. And make sure to go check out my second channel where I put a lot of these effects into use. And until next time, peace.
Aggressive right now. Your mic is aggressive.
Mike is actually
I was leaned up. What? Is it bad? Is it? Do I need to fix it? Is it bad?